All right, so let me just ask you a question. So, what are some of the themes and some of the trends that are going to come out of this Gnomedex?
Well, in terms of themes and trends, certainly we've seen some interesting things happen in the mobile space. There's going to be a little bit of that, not a whole lot. I think a lot of that's overplayed. It's not a developer conference, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on APIs. Um, but more than anything, what has seemed to surface is the ability to do and to create without anybody asking. You just do it. And technology has now given people a vehicle, a voice, to get their ideas from point A to point B and to actually make change happen. And so if there is a trend, I think these tools are getting easier and easier to use. They're becoming more pervasive, can't avoid technology. And so now, a quote unquote Joe Nobody in the middle of an office can come up with an idea and that weekend create it, and suddenly the whole world's talking about it on Monday. And that's the way ideas start to spread. And it's this kind of inspiration that I've seen, and that just became a thread. People who are just doing things, and I think technology has that undercurrent. So whether it's thinking about food science, as we're going to have Larry Wu, the guy who created the Frappuccino, and Crystal Light, talking about how you have to think about your market that you're going after, right? You can't just say, well, I'm marketing to the world. No, you really got to know your market and how each, even age group, needs to be marketed to differently. And when, even as geeks, when we hear that, people who are in business, geeks, or people who work for companies hear that, it's like, I never even thought of that before. And hearing that, how that works even with food, it translates very, very well. Or just the idea of the creative process of creating food and what is that like? I thought that was an amazing, insight that I gained from conversations that I had with Larry, and I thought, this is really cool. And I haven't seen you at any tech conference, so I'd love to put you on stage, all the way to let's say Austin Heap, who was recently covered in Newsweek quite extensively for the work he's doing with internet and the pretty much busting through what Iran is trying to do to its citizens in trying to limit its access to the internet. And Austin is pretty much undoing that. And I think that's very, very powerful. And you really don't have to be somebody to be somebody. Technology becomes the ability for you to build that human circuitry with everybody else. And so that's the undercurrent more than anything. Technology is starting to empower in a big, big, big way, and anybody can do it. So I'm hoping to spread that influence.